In the vast, epic world of the Mahabharata, there are stories that grab you and just don't let go. And the one we're diving into today is maybe the most fascinating of all. It's about a remarkable princess, Draupadi, and her five, yes five, legendary husbands. We're going to break down exactly how this incredible marriage came to be.
So this is the big question, right? It's the central mystery we're unpacking. This is a story that pushes back against convention, against tradition, and even challenges our whole understanding of duty. So how in the world did this happen? Let's find out.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off right after a huge victory. Arjuna, one of the five amazing Pandava brothers, has just won the hand of Princess Draupadi in a crazy difficult archery contest. But here's the twist. He and his brothers are totally in disguise, living as poor Brahmins, hiding out from their enemies.
Back at their little potter's hut, their mother, Kunti, is just beside herself with worry. Her sons are late, and she has absolutely no idea that they've been at a royal competition, let alone that they've won a princess. She's just picturing the worst, that their enemies found them and it's all over.
And then, finally, Arjuna bursts in, just beaming with his triumph. He calls out to his mother, who's still inside the hut, "Mother, we have returned bringing excellent alms." Now pay very close attention to that one fateful word he uses, alms. You know, the charitable gifts that people give to holy men.
Kunti is so overjoyed, so relieved just to hear his voice, that she calls back without even looking up to see who or what they've brought with them. She just says, "Share among yourselves whatever you have acquired." And bam, with those few, simple, unthinking words, destiny is sealed forever.
Now, you have to understand, in this world, a mother's word, especially from Kunti, a woman who valued truth above all else, was unbreakable. It was law. So when she finally steps out and sees the beautiful Princess Draupadi standing there, her joy just evaporates and turns into absolute horror. She realizes she has just ordered her five sons to share a single wife. This creates an absolutely impossible dilemma for the eldest brother, Yudhishthira, who is like the literal embodiment of virtue. He's trapped in this massive moral puzzle. On one hand, Arjuna rightfully won the princess, but on the other, their mother's command can't be taken back. And then he looks around and sees that all five of his brothers have been totally captivated by Draupadi's beauty. He's afraid that if only one of them marries her, it'll spark a terrible jealousy that could tear their family apart. So to protect his mother's honor and keep his brothers united, he makes his radical, unbelievable decision: we shall all marry the blessed Draupadi.
Meanwhile, back at the palace, Draupadi's father, King Drupada, is in the middle of a full-blown crisis of his own. I mean, his daughter was just won by some guy dressed as a poor Brahmin. He's terrified she's been claimed by someone of low birth, which will bring total dishonor to his entire kingdom.
So he sends his son, Drishtadyumna, to do a little spying. And the report that comes back is, well, it's baffling. He followed them to this simple little hut, sure, but then he saw the powerful lords Krishna and Balarama show up for a visit. He saw his royal sister, the princess, happily serving them all a meal. And, this is the real kicker, he overheard them talking about celestial weapons and battle plans. Yeah, these were definitely not your average Brahmins.
So, Drupada, being a pretty clever guy, invites the brothers to a feast and sets a little trap. He lays out all sorts of items for every social class: tools for priests, goods for merchants, and a magnificent collection of armor and weapons. The Pandavas walk into the hall, completely ignore everything else, and make a beeline straight for the weapons. Their cover is blown. The time for games is over. Yudhishthira steps forward and reveals their true identity. "We five are royalty, the sons of the illustrious Pandu. I am Yudhishthira." You can just imagine the relief from King Drupada. He is overcome with joy. His deepest wish had come true. His daughter was going to marry the great Arjuna after all.
But that relief, it doesn't last very long. Just as Drupada is getting ready for Arjuna's wedding, Yudhishthira drops the bombshell. All five brothers are going to marry Draupadi. And this, my friends, is where we get to the real heart of the conflict, a massive debate over dharma, or sacred duty.
King Drupada is just appalled. He's like, whoa, hold on. A man can have many wives, sure, but one woman having multiple husbands? That's unheard of. It's against the sacred texts. It's against all custom. He looks at Yudhishthira, this man famous for his virtue, and asks how he could possibly even think of such a sinful thing.
And this really lays out the whole tension perfectly. On one side, you have Drupada, who's arguing based on the established law and tradition. It's against the Vedas. It's a sin.
Simple as that. But Yudhishthira is arguing from a much higher, more subtle place. He insists his mother's word is law, that his own conscience is clear, and he even points to some super rare historical examples where this exact thing has happened before.
So they've hit a wall. They are completely deadlocked. Tradition versus this unique higher calling. Neither side is backing down. It's pretty clear that regular mortal arguments aren't going to cut it. They need a higher authority to step in.
And just then, as if on cue, the great sage Vyasadeva arrives. Now, Vyasadeva isn't just some random wise man. He's a compiler of the Holy Scriptures, and oh yeah, he also happens to be the Pandava's grandfather. He's here to explain the cosmic, mind-blowing reasons behind this whole impossible situation.
Vyasadeva takes King Drupada aside and reveals this stunning truth from one of Draupadi's past lives. He explains that she once performed these intense austerities, praying and praying to the god Shiva for a husband. And in her passion, she repeated her request 5 times. Shiva, pleased with her devotion, granted her wish exactly as she asked. In your next life, you will have 5 husbands.
And this really shows you the deepest truth about Dharma. It's not just a simple list of do's and don'ts. It's a much deeper cosmic law. Just like Yudhishthira argued, how you apply it is subtle, and it really depends on the situation. What looks like a sin on the surface is actually the fulfillment of a divine promise from the god Shiva himself. But hold on, there's one more layer to this divine plan. Vyasadeva also reveals that the Pandava brothers, they're not entirely mortal either. They are, in fact, past incarnations of the great god Indra. So this marriage isn't just a union of mortals, it's a divinely arranged event, bringing together these celestial beings who were always destined for each other.
With King Drupada's mind finally at ease, the weddings go forward, and they are just as unique as you'd imagine. For 5 straight days, Drupadi marries each brother, one by one, in order of their age. And get this, through a divine miracle that Vyasadeva explains, she actually regains her virginity before each new ceremony.
This incredible alliance completely restores the Pandavas' fortunes. The wedding gifts they receive are absolutely staggering. King Drupada gives each of the 5 brothers 100 chariots, 100 elephants, and 100 maidservants. That's 500 of each. And their cousin Krishna sends just vast amounts of gold and gems. They literally go from poverty and hiding to immense wealth and power, completely securing their future.
And so, an act that all started with a mother's slip of the tongue, an act that seemed to fly in the face of every tradition, was ultimately revealed to be the fulfillment of a divine destiny. It really leaves us with a deep question, one that's at the very heart of this epic story. When your duty and your destiny seem to collide, which path is the one that's truly righteous?